The mining vessel Orion drifted quietly through the Andros Belt, a region filled with rocks, dust, and hidden pockets of frozen gases. Its engines hummed softly as the crew carried out their usual tasks. Commander Rian sat in the control chair watching the radar. His crew had spent months mining rare elements from asteroids, but the emptiness of space never stopped feeling strange. Mira sat at the communication panel, her fingers tapping over glowing screens. She was the youngest among them, curious and sharp-minded. Tomas, the navigation officer, checked coordinates on his console while Dalen, the oldest crew member, adjusted the energy flow to the reactors. Their small ship was a combination of hard work, noise, and hope. Then the silence broke. A faint signal flashed on Mira's screen, followed by a soft repeating tone. It was weak and distorted, almost lost in background radiation. She adjusted the frequency and turned the volume higher. The sound became clearer, forming a pattern. 2 words repeated again and again in a calm but mechanical voice: mirror chamber, mirror chamber. Mira frowned and turned to Ryan. Commander, you should hear this. Rian leaned closer as the words repeated once more. His brows tightened. Source: unknown. Signal strength is low, but it's coming from Sector 9 of the belt, around 6,000 kilometers from our current path. Dalen raised his head. Could be a beacon from an old probe, or worse, a trap. Thomas looked uncertain. Commander, we're already behind schedule. We have to deliver the last shipment in 2 days. Diverting course could cost us. Ryan stood silently, staring at the dark screen where the coordinates appeared. He had seen many strange things in deep space, but this felt different. A message repeating with such clarity, yet with no signature or identification code, meant something ancient or unknown. We check it out, Ryan said finally. If it's a distress signal, we can't ignore it. The ship's engines turned toward the signal's source. Mira adjusted the scanners, locking onto the faint pulse of energy. The closer they moved, the stronger it became. After an hour of travel, the ship reached a region where the stars seemed dimmer. A thin mist of golden dust floated in space, sparkling faintly against the ship's lights. The radar picked up something massive ahead, hidden in the fog. Thomas squinted at the screen. That can't be a natural formation. It's too symmetrical. The mist cleared slowly, and what they saw made everyone fall silent. Floating in the darkness was a perfect sphere the size of a small moon. Its surface shimmered like liquid gold, reflecting the ship's light in countless directions. Every reflection looked delayed, almost as if the surface was responding with its own rhythm. Mira whispered, "It looks alive." Dalen scanned the surface. "No metal I know can reflect like that. It's not smooth either. There's a strange energy field around it, shifting constantly." Ryan activated external cameras. The sphere rotated slowly, revealing patterns of light running along its surface like rivers of molten gold. The patterns moved in geometric shapes, rearranging every few seconds. "Can we get a reading from inside?" Ryan asked. "Negative," Dalen replied. "The surface is reflecting every signal we send. Even the ship's sensors can't penetrate. It's like trying to scan a perfect mirror." Mira looked nervous. "Commander, the signal we heard is coming directly from the sphere." They all stared at the display as the repeating voice returned. The same 2 words echoed through the cabin again. "Mirror chamber, mirror chamber." Ryan leaned back in his chair. "Whatever that is, it wants us to find it." Dalen crossed his arms. "Or it wants us to open it." "That's not the same thing." Rian gave a small smile. "You've been in space too long, old man. Prepare a landing drone. I want a closer look." The drone detached from the ship, flying slowly toward the sphere. Its cameras sent back clear images of the golden surface. As it approached, the light patterns started to pulse faster, as if reacting to its presence. Then, without warning, a small circular opening appeared on the sphere's surface. It was smooth, precise, and large enough for the drone to enter. Rian stood up. It opened a door. Dalen shook his head. "It knew we were here. This is no natural structure. It's built by someone or something." Rian looked thoughtful. "Then we'll find out who." Within minutes, the crew prepared for descent. The Orion's landing shuttle detached and moved toward the sphere. Mira handled the guidance controls while Thomas monitored the stability. The golden surface grew larger and brighter until it filled every screen. When the shuttle entered the open passage, the light dimmed and everything turned silent. They descended through a tunnel that reflected their own ship in every direction. It felt like flying inside a hall of mirrors. The walls seemed to stretch and move, bending light into impossible angles. Artificial gravity detected, Dalen reported. The sphere is generating a stable field inside. We can land safely. The shuttle touched down on a flat platform. Around them stood countless vertical surfaces of gold, arranged like tall mirrors rising from the ground. Each one reflected the crew and shuttle perfectly, but the reflections were slightly delayed, almost breathing on their own. Mira stepped out first, her boots touching the golden floor. It was warm under her feet, not metallic but smooth like glass. She felt a strange vibration in her chest, like a heartbeat pulsing through the ground. "This place feels alive," she said softly. Ryan followed, scanning the surroundings. The hall stretched endlessly, with rows of mirrors vanishing into the distance. Their reflections repeated over and over, forming a sea of glowing images. Thomas whispered, "How can a structure like this exist in space? There's no sign of damage, no dust, no decay." Dalen placed a small probe near one of the mirrors, material analysis starting. The device glowed faintly, then displayed numbers that made him step back in disbelief. Impossible. The atomic arrangement is beyond anything we know. It's stable beyond theoretical limits. Ryan looked at the mirror closest to him. His reflection stared back, but the eyes seemed to move a moment later. For a brief second, the reflected version of him smiled when he did not. Ryan blinked and the reflection returned to normal. Mira noticed it too. "Did you see that?" "Yes," Ryan said quietly. "Keep your focus." The command echoed softly in the massive hall. Every sound bounced through the mirrors, creating an endless whisper that faded slowly into the distance. Suddenly, the signal began again, louder this time, not through their speakers but directly from the walls. "Mirror chamber, mirror chamber." The mirrors around them flickered and light rippled across the hall in waves. The reflections multiplied until every direction glowed with golden brilliance. Then the light began to shape into forms not human, not machine, but patterns of pure energy. Mira raised her scanner. "It's responding to our presence. The energy readings are off the scale." Dalen took a deep breath. "This chamber is not just reflecting us. It's scanning us." Ryan stepped forward and touched the mirror nearest to him. The surface was warm and soft, almost liquid. When his fingers made contact, a spark of golden light spread across the entire wall. The reflections around the hall aligned instantly, forming one single synchronized image of the crew. Every mirror now showed the same scene, the four of them standing in the center. "Surrounded by endless light," Mira whispered. "It's showing us to ourselves." Ryan felt something deeper. It was not just light or reflection. It was awareness. The chamber was observing them, learning about them, and perhaps waiting for something. Thomas spoke softly. "Commander, I think it knows we are human." Ryan turned to face the others. His face was calm but serious. "Then let's make sure it knows what kind of humans we are." As the golden light continued to rise, the chamber pulsed with rhythmic energy like a heartbeat. The mirrors shifted again, and for a moment, Ryan saw something inside the light, distant stars, unknown worlds, and shapes that might have been ancient cities built entirely of mirrors. He realized that they were standing at the threshold of something far greater than any discovery humanity had made before. The Orion had found the Chamber of Mirrors, and the Chamber of Mirrors had found them. The crew stood in silence, surrounded by countless mirrors glowing with golden light. Every reflection seemed alive, moving with a slight delay as if each version of them existed in a different moment. The air inside the hall was warm and full of faint vibrations. It felt like standing inside a giant heart made of light. Commander Ryan took a slow breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. The discovery was beyond anything they had seen before. The chamber was not a ruin or a dead structure. It was active, aware, and somehow waiting. Mira adjusted her wrist scanner and began to collect readings. The small device buzzed quietly, showing strange data patterns. "Commander, the energy here is stable but not natural. It seems to be built from structured light." Dalen frowned. "Structured light? That's impossible. Light doesn't hold form like matter." "It does here," Mira said, pointing at the readings. "The mirrors are not just reflecting. They are creating shapes out of light itself." Ryan looked around. "What about gravity?" Tomas checked his console. "It's artificial and balanced. The whole place adjusts to our movement. It's like the chamber understands what we need to survive." Ryan nodded. "Then we'll treat it with respect." The crew began to move deeper into the hall. The mirrors grew taller and closer together, until the path narrowed into a corridor of gold. Each step echoed softly, bouncing between the reflective walls. Their reflections followed them like silent companions. Mira stopped at one mirror that looked brighter than the rest. "This one is reacting," Ryan approached. The reflection inside the mirror flickered, showing a faint shimmer of motion. At first it looked like their own image, but slowly the reflection changed. Instead of showing the crew, the mirror displayed a scene of a vast plain under a golden sky. Strange towers rose in the distance, their surfaces gleaming with light. Dalen stared in disbelief. "That's not our reflection." "It's a place," Thomas whispered. "Could it be another world?" Before Ryan could answer, the image shifted again. This time it showed Earth, but not the Earth they knew. The oceans glowed brighter, and large patches of land shimmered as if covered in living metal. The atmosphere was calm, almost peaceful. Mira stepped closer, her hand hovering near the surface. "It's showing us what could be." Dalen shook his head. "Or what once was." Ryan touched the mirror lightly. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the reflection rippled like water, and a wave of golden light moved across the corridor. Every mirror responded at once, lighting up in sequence. The corridor came alive with moving images, worlds, stars, and faces. Some mirrors showed planets full of light. Others showed beings made entirely of energy. The images changed rapidly, never staying still for more than a few seconds. Thomas whispered, "This chamber holds the memory of many civilizations." Mira nodded. "It's like a record made of light." Ryan watched in silence. Every reflection seemed to tell a story. He could feel a strange sense of connection, as if the chamber was showing humanity its place among countless others. The light from the mirrors began to pulse softly, matching the rhythm of their breathing. Then one of the mirrors near the far wall changed. It no longer showed worlds or faces. Instead, it showed the Orion floating outside in space. The image was perfect, even showing the flickering lights on the ship's hull. Ryan narrowed his eyes. "That's a live reflection of our ship." Mira checked her console. "Confirmed. It's a real-time image. Somehow the chamber is monitoring everything around it." Suddenly, the reflection zoomed in on the ship's reactor core. A bright golden light pulsed through the image, and their ship's power levels spiked on Thomas's readings. "The chamber is interacting with the ship's systems," Thomas said quickly. "It's transferring energy." Dalen looked shocked. "Transferring or absorbing?" The lights in the hall flickered for a moment, then returned to normal. The reflection of the ship stabilized, showing the Orion glowing faintly with golden light. "It seems to be enhancing the ship," Mira said softly. "Our power levels just doubled." Ryan turned to face the crew. "This technology is beyond anything humans have built. We'll record everything carefully. No sudden actions, no interference." They moved deeper into the chamber. The path ended at a vast circular hall with a large mirror in the center. Unlike the others, this one was flat and smooth, standing alone like a doorway. The golden glow around it was stronger, almost blinding. "This must be the central point," Dalen said. Ryan nodded. "It feels like the heart of the chamber." Mira set down a portable scanner near the mirror. The device began to hum, its display filled with unreadable symbols. "It's sending data back, but I can't decode it." "It's not a language, it's a pattern." "What kind of pattern?" Thomas asked. "A repeating one. Like a sequence that's trying to synchronize with our neural signals." Ryan looked thoughtful. "It's trying to connect with us." Before anyone could respond, the mirror brightened suddenly. The golden light grew until it covered the entire hall. The reflections vanished, replaced by a single shining surface. The crew shielded their eyes as the air filled with a soft humming sound. Mira's scanner went silent. "It's stable again, but the readings are different now." "I think it's adapting to us," Dalen frowned. "Adapting how?" She pointed at the scanner. "It's matching our brainwave frequencies. It's learning." Ryan stared at the glowing mirror. He felt a strange pull, as if something inside was calling to him. He stepped forward, but Tomas placed a hand on his arm. "Commander, wait. We don't know what it wants." Ryan paused, his eyes fixed on the golden surface. "Maybe it doesn't want anything. Maybe it's waiting for us to understand." The light dimmed slightly, forming faint shapes inside the mirror. The shapes looked like human figures made of light standing side by side. Their outlines were soft, their movements calm and graceful. Mira whispered, "They look like us." The figures raised their arms slowly, and the light around them began to swirl. The entire hall responded, sending ripples of gold across every surface. For a brief moment, the chamber filled with a deep, resonant tone that felt both powerful and peaceful. The figures disappeared, leaving only their reflection behind. The central mirror returned to its calm golden glow. Dalen exhaled. What did we just witness? Mira checked her readings again. It wasn't a hologram. Those were energy projections, real forms of light. Ryan nodded slowly. If this place stores memories, maybe we just saw the builders. Tomas looked around uneasily. Then why show themselves now? Because we activated something, Ryan said. Something meant to recognize us. They stood quietly as the golden light settled again. Every mirror returned to its normal reflection. Yet the chamber no longer felt silent. It felt aware, as if it was watching them closely. Ryan looked at his crew. We've seen enough for now. Let's return to the shuttle and report our findings. We'll come back prepared. They turned toward the exit, but before they reached the tunnel, the central mirror flashed again. A single beam of light shot upward, hitting the high ceiling. Symbols appeared in the air, forming a circle of patterns that glowed like stars. Mira recorded the projection. It's sending coordinates. Ryan studied the symbols. To where? Dalen adjusted the scanner. They match no known star maps. These are locations far beyond our galaxy. The beam of light faded slowly, leaving only faint sparkles drifting in the air. Ryan turned toward his crew, his voice calm but firm. This chamber is a map, a memory, and a key. We have just unlocked the first door. The crew returned to the shuttle, their minds filled with questions. As the engines lifted them from the golden floor, the mirrors reflected their departure. Every reflection showed them leaving except one. In one mirror near the far wall, their reflection stayed still, watching them go, glowing faintly in golden light. As the shuttle left the sphere and entered open space again, the Orion systems came alive with soft golden energy. The mysterious signal stopped transmitting, replaced by a calm silence. Ryan looked out through the window. The golden sphere floated quietly in the distance, its surface pulsing gently like a heartbeat. He knew this was only the beginning. Whatever intelligence had built the Chamber of Mirrors was ancient, powerful, and now aware of humanity's presence. And somewhere within that shining structure, the first reflection of humankind had just been born. The mining vessel Orion drifted slowly in orbit around the golden sphere. The crew had been silent for hours since returning from the chamber. The air inside the ship felt heavy with wonder and confusion. Every crew member had seen something they could not explain, and no one wanted to speak first. Commander Ryan sat in the command chair, eyes fixed on the glowing structure outside. It reflected sunlight in endless patterns, filling the cabin with faint golden light. Mira stood near the console, watching data scroll across her screen. Tomas monitored the power systems while Dalen sat at the engineering station, staring at the readings that refused to make sense. Ryan finally broke the silence. Status report, Tomas spoke first. Engine stable. Life support normal. But there's still a faint energy link between us and the sphere. It's not draining or charging, just connected. Mira nodded. It feels like the chamber is still watching us. Dalen sighed. It probably is. A machine that old and powerful doesn't just stop after one visit. Ryan leaned forward. Then we find out what it wants. We're not leaving until we understand this. Mira looked uncertain. Commander, what if understanding it changes us? Ryan smiled faintly. Then we'll learn what kind of change we are meant for. They prepared a new mission plan. This time they would take neural link devices to record brainwave patterns. Mira had noticed earlier that the chamber reacted to their thoughts, and she wanted to test the connection directly. Dalen modified the devices so they could connect safely through an isolated interface. Within 2 hours, the shuttle descended again into the chamber. The golden walls welcomed them with the same warm light. The mirrors pulsed gently as if recognizing their return. Same layout, Thomas said, checking his scanner. No structural change. Then we'll set up at the central hall, Ryan replied. They reached the large mirror in the center of the chamber. It stood calm and silent, reflecting them perfectly. Mira set up her neural device near its base and linked it to a portable terminal. Wires and lights connected the interface, glowing softly. Dalen connected his tool to measure frequency shifts. Signal stable. You can begin when ready. Mira placed the neural band around her head. The moment it activated, her reflection shimmered slightly. She gasped but stayed focused. It's reacting. I can feel warmth through the signal. Describe what you see, Ryan said quietly. Mira stared into the mirror. Her reflection was no longer moving exactly like her. It smiled before she did and then tilted its head. The background changed, showing not the hall but a green field under golden sunlight. I see. A place. It looks like Earth, but brighter, cleaner. The air feels different. Ryan stepped closer. Is it real or just an image? I can't tell. It feels real in my mind, like I'm standing there. Dalen monitored the scanner. Her brainwave activity is increasing. The mirror is matching her neural pattern in perfect sync. Suddenly, Mira's voice trembled. Now it's changing. I see people, but they're made of light. They're walking among trees that glow. They're looking at me. They seem peaceful. The reflection shifted again. Now it showed Mira standing among the glowing figures, even though her body remained in the chamber. Her reflection raised its hand, and one of the light beings did the same. Ryan said calmly, "End the link if you feel unsafe." Mira shook her head. "No, I think they are showing me something." The mirror brightened. The golden figures transformed into streams of light moving through vast structures that floated in the sky. Cities of mirrors stretched across a horizon of light. Mira whispered. They built this. They used light to create and store memories. Each mirror holds a piece of who they were. Dalen looked at the data and said, "Commander, she's right. The chamber is transferring memory patterns through photon energy." "It's like a library made of consciousness," Mira continued, her voice calm now. "They wanted to preserve themselves. Their bodies may have vanished, but their thoughts live here." Then the light began to dim. The mirror showed one last image, a single bright core surrounded by dark space. It pulsed slowly, sending waves of light outward like a heartbeat. Mira removed the neural band and took a deep breath. It showed me the source. "The heart of the chamber." Ryan asked, "Did it say anything?" She nodded. "Yes, a message repeated in my mind. Humanity carries the seed of creation." The words hung in the air. No one spoke for several seconds. Thomas whispered, "What does that even mean?" Dalen replied, "It could mean that we share something with the ones who built this. Maybe they recognized a connection." Ryan looked at Mira. "Are you all right?" She smiled weakly. "Yes, just tired." It wasn't frightening. It felt like being understood. Ryan turned to Dalen. "Can we locate the source she saw?" Dalen adjusted his scanner. "The energy core is deep inside the sphere. There's a passage leading inward, but it's blocked by a light barrier. I think the chamber can open it if it chooses." Ryan looked at the central mirror again. "Then we'll ask." He stepped forward and placed his palm against the surface. It was warm and smooth, just like before. "We want to see the heart," he said clearly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the mirror rippled, and the floor beneath them glowed with golden lines that formed a path leading toward a distant wall. The air vibrated softly like the sound of a distant choir. "The way is open," Mira said quietly. They followed the glowing path. As they walked, the mirrors around them changed. Some showed scenes from human history, early rockets, deep-sea explorers, and cities rising under the blue sky of Earth. Others showed the same events in brighter versions. As if predicting a better future, Dalen murmured, "It's learning from us, combining our history with its own." When they reached the end of the path, the wall ahead melted into light, revealing a vast chamber unlike the others. The air shimmered with floating particles of gold. In the center hovered a crystal sphere surrounded by thin beams of light, each connecting to the walls around it. "This is it," Thomas said softly. "The heart." Ryan approached carefully. "Record everything." The crystal pulsed gently. Each pulse released a wave of light that formed patterns in the air. Mira raised her scanner, but then the light turned toward her. A thin beam touched her device, downloading streams of data faster than any human system could process. "The chamber is communicating again," Dalen said, "but it's not through language. It's using energy frequency." Mira closed her eyes, trying to focus. "I can hear it in my mind. It's showing images again. A cycle of creation and decay. Civilizations rising, then falling, then rising again. The chamber was made to keep their memory alive." Ryan listened carefully, "And now it's sharing that memory with us." "Yes," Mira said, "because we have something it needs. The ability to dream, to build, to start again." The crystal pulsed brighter, and the golden lines on the walls flared like sunlight. A voice, calm and deep, echoed across the hall. It was not heard through ears but through thought. Humanity is the continuation of light, the reflection reborn. Thomas stumbled back slightly. Did everyone hear that? They all nodded. The message filled their minds with warmth and calm. It was not threatening, only revealing. Rian stepped forward again. What do you want us to do? The light pulsed once more, forming symbols in the air. Mira translated slowly. It says, awaken the mirrors. Spread the reflection. Dalen looked around. There must be other chambers like this. Connected across space, Ryan nodded. Then that's our mission now. We'll find them. The chamber's glow softened as if approving. The crystal returned to its gentle rhythm, pulsing like a living heart. The path behind them lit up again, leading back toward the main hall. As they followed it, the mirrors reflected not just their images, but bright halos of golden light around each of them. Mira looked at her reflection and smiled. It sees us differently now. Ryan replied quietly. Maybe it sees what we could become. When they reached the entrance tunnel, the mirrors dimmed, returning to their original calm state. The Orion awaited outside, floating under the light of distant stars. Back on board, the crew sat together in the command cabin. The golden sphere shone through the window like a second sun. Ryan recorded a log entry for future explorers. This structure is not just a machine. It is a memory and a message. It holds the thoughts of an ancient race that turned light into knowledge. It has recognized humanity as its successor. The chamber believes our kind can continue what it began, Mira added softly. And maybe it's right. Outside, the golden sphere pulsed once more, sending a faint beam of light across the stars. The crew watched as the signal stretched beyond sight, heading into the darkness between galaxies. Rian spoke quietly. It's calling others. The chamber's reflection glowed on their faces. It was no longer just a discovery. It was a connection between what was and what would be. Humanity had found not just a mirror of light, but a reflection of its own future. The golden sphere floated silently in the void while the mining vessel Orion orbited around it. Days had passed since the crew discovered the heart of the chamber, yet the event still echoed in their minds. Every night, they dreamed of the same golden light, the same gentle voice that called humanity the reflection reborn. Inside the ship, Commander Ryan reviewed their recordings again. The images of golden figures, the crystal heart, and the beam that reached beyond the stars filled the screen. Each frame seemed alive, as if carrying some form of consciousness. Mira entered the cabin holding a tablet filled with data. Commander, I have something new. The chamber is still sending out energy waves, but the pattern has changed. It's spreading further now. Ryan looked up. Further how? Beyond our system. The beam is no longer a single pulse. It's splitting into multiple signals, each traveling in a different direction. It looks like a network forming across space. Thomas joined them from the navigation deck. I've mapped the signals. They align with regions of unexplored space. If I'm reading this right, there could be other chambers waiting to activate. Dalen frowned. So we just awakened an entire chain of these things. Ryan nodded slowly. That seems to be the case. But what if that's what we were meant to do? Mira's eyes shone with curiosity. The message said, awaken the mirrors. Spread the reflection. Maybe this is how it begins. The ship's lights flickered for a brief moment. Dalen checked the control panel. We're losing a small amount of energy from the main reactor. It's being drawn toward the sphere again. Thomas looked nervous. Commander, what if it's taking our power to expand its signal? Ryan thought for a moment, then replied, if the chamber wanted to harm us, it would have done so already. Let it draw what it needs, but keep monitoring every change. Outside, the sphere's surface shimmered brighter than ever before. Golden waves spread outward like ripples across a pond. The light reached the ship and coated its hull in a soft glow. The reflections danced across the metal like living patterns. Inside the cabin, every console flickered with lines of code that were not part of the ship's system. Mira's eyes widened as she recognized the patterns. It's trying to communicate again. The language is similar to before, but now it's using our own data format. Rian leaned closer.
What is it saying?
Mira decoded the signals carefully. It's transmitting coordinates again, but this time they are closer to home. One point is in the direction of Mars. Dalen stared at her. You mean there's another chamber near Mars? It's possible, Mira said. Or maybe the reflection from this one is creating a new structure. The crew exchanged uncertain looks. Ryan decided quickly. Prepare the ship for travel. If the chamber is building something new, we have to see it. The engines roared to life and Orion moved away from the golden sphere. As they left, the surface of the chamber pulsed once more, sending another golden wave through the darkness. The energy trail followed them like a shining thread through space. Hours later, as the ship neared Mars' orbit, the scanners picked up something unexpected. A bright object appeared near the planet's northern hemisphere, floating high above the surface. It was smaller than the first chamber but shared the same golden glow. Thomas stared at the screen. It's forming right now. The energy pattern matches the original chamber, Dalen said quietly. It's growing from light itself. The crew watched as the golden structure stabilized, forming a perfect sphere surrounded by thin layers of glowing dust. Mira whispered, "It's not just a copy. It's connected." "The two chambers are linked," Ryan nodded. "We're witnessing creation through light. Whatever this network is, it's using energy from the first chamber to replicate its form." As they observed, the ship's communication system activated on its own. A voice calm and clear filled the cabin. It was the same tone they had heard inside the first chamber. The reflection spreads. The mirrors awaken. The light remembers. Rian looked at the others. "It's the same intelligence," Mira responded to the transmission. "Who are you?" The voice replied, "We are the remnants of what came before. We are memory waiting for those who dream." Ryan said, "Why us? Why humanity?" The voice answered, "Because you carry the same spark. The will to create light in the dark." The transmission ended, leaving a deep silence behind. Dalen whispered, "It's choosing us." Ryan looked out the window at the glowing sphere near Mars. "No, it's reminding us what we already are." The two chambers pulsed in perfect rhythm. Then the first sphere back in the Andros belt sent out a new burst of light that connected to the one near Mars. A golden bridge formed between them, stretching across space like a shining river. Thomas stared in awe. "That beam is stable. It's traveling faster than light but without breaking physical laws. It's using folded energy fields." Mira recorded the event. "This could change everything we know about travel and communication." Ryan's expression remained serious. "Or it could be a test. The chambers might be checking if we're ready to handle such power." As the bridge continued to glow, the ship's instruments detected a surge of unknown radiation. Dylan adjusted the shields, but the readings showed no danger. The energy was pure and steady. "Commander," Mira said suddenly, "the signal is expanding again. It's spreading toward other parts of space." Rian asked, "How far?" Mira's screen filled with data. "Across multiple systems. Each pulse travels faster than any signal we've ever recorded. The chambers are creating a chain of connections." The golden light reflected in their eyes. The crew realized that this was no longer a single discovery. It was the start of a transformation across the galaxy. But then the ship's lights dimmed. The engines slowed. Dalen checked the power systems. "The chamber is pulling more energy now. It's taking everything it can," Ryan said firmly. "We can't shut it down. Disconnect and we might lose the link. Hold steady." Outside, the bridge of light pulsed stronger. The ship's hull vibrated softly as if surrounded by waves of sound. Mira felt a faint hum in her mind, the same harmony she had heard inside the first chamber. "The chamber is sending us a message again," she said. "But this time it's not words. It's feelings. Hope, unity, creation," Thomas said quietly. "It's not trying to harm us. It's showing us that we are part of something greater." Ryan nodded. "Then let it complete its work." The golden bridge expanded, reaching other unseen points in the darkness. Distant signals began to appear on their radar, one after another, each representing another awakening mirror somewhere far away. Hours passed as they watched the network grow. The entire system seemed alive, breathing with light. Then, without warning, the energy flow stopped. The bridge faded slowly, leaving behind faint trails of glowing dust. The chambers returned to their calm golden glow. Mira checked her instruments. "The signal has stabilized. The network is complete," Ryan asked. "How many chambers?" "At least 9 within range," she said. "Possibly more beyond detection." Dalen leaned back in his chair. 9 connected chambers across the galaxy. That's not just a network. That's a civilization reborn. Ryan stood and looked through the main window at the 2 golden spheres shining in the distance. If that is true, then we have awakened something that never truly died. The ship's communication system activated one final time. The calm voice spoke again, but this time it sounded softer, almost human. The mirrors remember those who seek the light. The reflection of one becomes the strength of all. You have restored the path. The message faded, leaving the crew in quiet wonder. Mira whispered, "Commander, what happens now?" Ryan answered calmly, "Now we learn what it means to be the reflection reborn." The chambers glowed brighter once more, releasing a gentle wave of golden light that spread toward Earth. Every satellite and telescope in orbit detected the signal. Scientists across the planet watched as the skies shimmered faintly for several minutes, then returned to normal. Humanity had just been touched by the first wave of the awakening. Inside the Orion, the crew felt a deep sense of peace. The ship's system stabilized, stronger than before. Dalen checked the readings. "Commander, the energy we lost has been returned. The ship's core is now enhanced. Efficiency up by 40%. Ryan smiled slightly. "A gift of light, perhaps." Mira looked at the screen showing Earth in the distance. "If the signal reached our planet, people will see it. They will know something has changed." Ryan turned toward her. "Then we must prepare to explain. Humanity is now part of a legacy older than its stars." Outside, the two golden chambers shone together like twin suns. The network they had created glowed faintly across the darkness of space, connecting unseen worlds in lines of endless light. The reflection had spread. The awakening had begun, and humanity stood at the center of it, chosen by the Chamber of Mirrors to carry the light forward. Weeks passed since the crew of the Orion had activated the first chain of chambers. Earth rotated slowly below them, bathed in sunlight and faint golden light that shimmered softly in the atmosphere. Scientists around the world were baffled, reporting unusual energy fluctuations in orbit. No one could explain the strange golden pulses that danced across the sky. Inside the Orion, Commander Ryan stood at the observation window. Mira and Thomas worked at their consoles while Dalen adjusted the ship's systems, which had become more efficient since the chamber had drawn energy. "The readings are still high," Mira said. "The signal is spreading across the planet. It's not harmful, but it's changing how energy interacts with the atmosphere." Ryan nodded slowly. "It's doing exactly what the chamber wanted. Humanity is being reflected in the light and the world is responding." Thomas pointed at the display. "Look at this, Commander. The solar absorption rate has improved. Plants are showing faster growth. Cities are more efficient. It's like the energy has harmonized with the planet." Dalen smiled faintly. "It's more than just energy. The chamber has given us a gift." Ryan turned to Mira. "Can we track where the other chambers are now?" Mira adjusted her scanner. "Yes, Commander. 9 are fully active. They are linked to the original in the Andros belt. Each one reflects the same golden light toward Earth and toward other points in space. The network is alive." Ryan's eyes glimmered with determination. "Then humanity has a choice. We can explore these chambers, learn from them, and continue the work of the ones who built them." The shuttle descended toward Earth, entering orbit above the golden glow that now stretched faintly across the northern hemisphere. The light reflected in clouds and rivers, giving everything a shimmering golden tint. It was subtle but unmistakable. "This is incredible," Tomas whispered. "The chamber didn't just connect space. It connected our planet to the stars." Ryan nodded. "And it reflected humanity's potential. We are capable of more than we thought." On the ground, people watched as the sky shimmered with faint golden lines. Scientists, engineers, and leaders from all nations gathered to study the phenomenon. Drones and satellites captured images of the light reflecting in the oceans and across cities. The energy pulses were subtle, but they improved energy efficiency and reduced pollution. Mira recorded the readings. "It's as if the chamber wants humans to evolve with light. It's enhancing our world without forcing us," Ryan said quietly. "The chamber reflected the best of humanity back at itself. And now we can see the results." Dalen adjusted the ship's sensors. "We're picking up faint signals from the chambers outside the solar system. They're waiting. They're guiding us to explore further." Ryan looked at Earth below. "Then our mission is clear. We will continue the reflection, awaken the chambers, and share the light with humanity." Mira smiled. "We are part of something greater than ourselves. The chamber didn't just choose us. It showed us who we can be." Hours later, the crew returned to the first golden sphere in the Andros belt. The chamber glowed softly, welcoming them as if acknowledging their success. Ryan stepped forward and placed his hand on the central mirror. The light pulsed gently in response, forming patterns that mirrored the Earth's surface below. "It's reflecting our planet," Thomas said. "Not just our species, but everything we've built and achieved." Mira adjusted her scanner. "The light is reorganizing energy patterns to harmonize with human technology. Our cities, our power grids, even transportation, all enhanced subtly by the reflection." Dalen nodded. "The chamber is teaching us without words. It's guiding humanity through energy and light." Ryan spoke softly. "Then we have to make sure humans are ready. They must understand the potential without fear." The chamber pulsed again, sending golden waves toward distant stars. The crew watched as faint lights appeared in other systems, signaling the awakening of additional chambers. Mira recorded the event. "The network is expanding. Each chamber contributes to the reflection, and every reflection strengthens the network." Rian looked at the glowing spheres. "Humanity has been recognized as a species of creators, not just survivors. We've been given the chance to continue a legacy older than our stars." The golden light reached Earth fully now. People looked up at the sky in awe, feeling warmth and hope. Cities were bathed in shimmering gold, and the energy improved living conditions across the planet. Crops grew stronger, machines worked more efficiently, and the air felt cleaner. On the surface, scientists gathered in observatories and laboratories. "The change is global," one said. "The energy is subtle, but it's stabilizing ecosystems and enhancing life." Ryan addressed his crew. "We must report what we've learned. Humanity must understand that the chambers are not just machines. They are memory, knowledge, and guidance from an ancient civilization." Mira nodded. "The message is clear. Humanity carries the seed of creation, and the chambers have shown us how to nurture it." The crew decided to send signals to Earth, explaining the chambers and their effects. They broadcast messages to scientific organizations, sharing the data recorded during their missions. Dalen said, "The chambers are a gift, but it's humanity's responsibility to use it wisely. The reflection is only useful if we continue to improve, learn, and create." Rian looked out at the glowing sky. "Then we must lead by example. Show humanity what can be achieved when we work with light instead of against it." Weeks turned into months. The Orion traveled to the other activated chambers. Each one mirrored the others, sending golden pulses that connected stars and planets. The crew explored carefully, learning how to interface with each new chamber and recording their findings. Every discovery enhanced human understanding. Materials unknown to science were replicated safely. Energy systems were improved. Cities became more efficient, and humanity began to see itself not as fragile, but as capable of creating, preserving, and reflecting light across the galaxy. On Earth, people noticed subtle changes in themselves as well. Innovations in science and technology increased. Cooperation between nations improved. Inspiration and hope spread through communities. The golden reflection had changed humanity not by force, but by example. One evening, Rian, Mira, Thomas, and Dalen gathered aboard the Orion, orbiting the original golden sphere. Mira said, "It's incredible to see the results. The chamber has taught us without words, guided us without interference." Thomas added, "And the network is still growing. Other chambers will awaken in distant systems. Humanity is now part of a galaxy-wide legacy." Dalen looked at Earth below. "We've been chosen, but we also have a responsibility. We must continue the reflection, protect it, and pass it on to future generations." Ryan smiled. "Then we will. We are the guardians of the golden light, the reflection of human potential." The chamber pulsed once more, sending a soft wave of light toward the ship. It was not a warning, not a demand, but a blessing. Mira whispered, "It's acknowledging us." Ryan looked at his crew. "And we acknowledge it. Together, humanity and the chambers will continue the legacy of infinite light." The golden spheres shimmered across the stars, sending ripples of light to distant worlds. The reflection of humanity's potential was now visible across space. Every city, every planet, and every human heart that saw the light felt hope, creativity, and the ability to achieve the impossible. From the Andros Belt to Mars and beyond, the network of chambers connected through golden bridges. Waiting for explorers, dreamers, and creators, humanity was no longer alone. They had been recognized, reflected, and elevated. Rian watched as the last pulse of light reached Earth. "We are part of something bigger than ourselves," he said quietly. Mira placed her hand on the console. The chambers showed us the path. Now it is our responsibility to walk it, Thomas added, and to teach others to follow. Dalen looked at the glowing spheres and nodded. The reflection is infinite. Humanity is ready. As the crew gazed at the golden light stretching across space, they understood that the chambers had given them more than technology or energy. They had given humanity a mirror that reflected hope, wisdom, and the best of what humans could become. The golden light continued to pulse, reaching every corner of the planet and beyond. And in that reflection, humanity saw itself not just as it was, but as it could be, creators of light, builders of knowledge, and guardians of infinite possibilities. The Orion floated silently among the stars, its crew ready to continue the journey. Humanity had awakened to its full potential, and the chambers would guide them as long as they were willing to see the reflection in themselves. The golden light of the chambers, the reflection of humanity, stretched across the universe, marking a beginning that had no end. The story of the Chamber of Mirrors had reached its first conclusion, but the legacy it had awakened would shine forever.